Abusian for Ghana Adeshimaima. Abusia, Mamuna Aqua Basronkon Edeba RAZ Media GH. So, Abusia, ene SM ewo. Ene de yebone Abusia, yewia panyini, yebra panyini, former minister, eye doctor Akumia. Ekopie mu ewo. Good Evening Ghana show a host by the learned lawyer and a TV presenter. The journalist, yefene Paul Adum Oche. Ni show so ewo Good Evening Ghana. Na enumu ena papa yi tena se na onyanto wase se obe church Ghana fo de ntia ewo se yenyina yenkwane nkoto abakese emfama His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahamadu Bawumia na de ochire ni se ohwe anisuade hunu plans ideas ya ewo Dr. Alhaji Mahamadu Bawumia ni muna. He has been a politician for so many years. Nampono on TB dase obi a candidate to be atimi adwene to that level to bring solutions to the problems that we are facing as a country. Now, ochechire mo a esandi kopie se John Dramani Mahama, dear, His Excellency, the former President of the Republic. So, ukomu ye na utie how he communicates. Na utie how he talk to the people. Bibi aida dipefe say he has lost comfort and confidence in talking to Ghanaians. Now, say the anti amona lose confidence and comfort. So ni Ghana for be kasa ni say ono ankasa John Dramani Mahama no onim de ohwehwe ono ankasa John Dramani Mahama no he don't know what he can even offer to the people in case he is being voted as the president of the republic. Entiana kumia say forget about John Mahama because we have somebody like Dr. Alhaji Mahamadu Bawumia enam nimdie ni nyansa ene adwuma pa wasua afiri ne boss eye na nado danko akufuado ne chainti no obetumi aye adwuma papa no sanso kan asem bia na eto aso pa o say since aye sha as a republic called Ghana yentumi nya technocrat ana economist emani medi Ghana animuda brebia omo ayafa won eye lawyers ena yeta fa won ama obedi Ghana nim na eno nam so ena ama yesika sem ni yesika ntoto ye no brebia no entumi nko at the perfect level because you need an economist to understand the international agreement on the finance, on the borrowing, and even when you befa so abosia na obebo no ebetimi generate more revenue more than say borrowing and spending. Papa ne kan sem bebre na nsem na okan ye no miwia ebefata se menu nyina yebekọ ne yakọ akotie ensem a eye papa akumia ede etudwa ewo Paul Adum Oche ni show a ye frene Good Evening Ghana so ye ba na ya sign ato aso said ye say na efata. Don't forget to say obetumi agya wa adwen kire ewo comment section box ho na wasan so a share video no ene your first time so subscribe to the channel so that we are able to live bia no wonso no obenya notification say we are live. Abusia yenko ne konko tie video no si a ebesen abaha na yasan e de enchechiremu kakra ye wono e de abremu try to subscribe and follow this page for more updates.
What we use to treat water to pipe to you, those ingredients are bought with dollar. The cost of electricity, the gas and the fuel that we use to burn to fuel electricity are all imported. Transport, food, even the woman selling what do you call it? Coffee broke man. That coffee, the plantain has to be transported. So when the price of the dollar changes and it affects transportation, it will affect the price of coffee broke man. It will affect school fees. So our historic economic problem has been how to hold the value of the city. And when you look at Bawumia's plans, that is going to treat the fiscal imbalance, that we've been spending more than we earn, and that contributes to the weakening of the city. It's going to do that by taking a lot of expenditure from the public purse onto the private sector. You look at roads, for example. There's no reason why we should be putting public money into the commercial roads. Accra Kumasi is a highly commercial road, which private sector with the right arrangements can be attracted to put in a 6-lane or a 4-lane and toll it to get their money back because of the volume of traffic. Accra Takrady, the same. Look at the state of the road. If we put in the right arrangements, private people will come in, build a 6-lane Accra to Takrady and toll it. Same for Aflao and so on. So all the public expenditure that can be done by the private sector, because they can get their return, will be shifted to the private sector. And that's going to take, by rough estimate, about 30 billion cedis off the public purse. Also, the other side of fiscal imbalance is to increase your revenue. His plans for increasing revenue are the best. Everybody say yes, we would increase the tax net and expand the tax net, but they don't tell us how. Bawumia is saying that with the Ghana card, you now have about 18 million people who can be identified because they have Ghana card. And now your Ghana card is also your tax identification number. So you cannot be identified for taxation. So about 4 million people like yourself who are in formal employment, you pay direct taxes. The rest cannot be identified. They don't pay direct taxes. So 13 million people roughly are outside the tax brackets. But with the Ghana card now, they can be identified. Now, you are not going to do any complex tax on them, just a flat rate, 50 cedis or 100 cedis a month. And they can pay on their phones, and they get their receipts on their phones. And that shows that they are also paying taxes, and whatever benefits comes with it, they become eligible. So you are going to have, out of the 13 million people outside the tax bracket, if you take 2 million or 3 million to be students who are above 18, secondary schools and universities, you are looking at a cool 10 million people who would be who can pay 100 cedis or 50 cedis a month. That's why he's able to say that I'll take off VAT and I'll take off betting tax, because we are going to increase the tax net so much, and there'll be so much inflow, and it will be what you are going to pay and the mode of payment will be so convenient for everybody that people will come into the tax bracket and pay every month. And that is going to shore up government revenue. And the removal of huge expenditure to the private sector will also reduce government expenditure. And this is the most credible program for achieving fiscal balance. Because the fiscal, you heard what?
So government is not going to be doing infrastructure?
We are not going to do commercial infrastructure. That's infrastructure. I mean, the road in front of my house.
So like building an airport, for instance, very commercial.
Building an airport.
Or building another terminal at the airport.
Another terminal.
You can have a private sector to build another terminal at the airport.
And they run
and then they run it and take their revenue. And the planes come and land there and they pay them.
Even school dormitories. I mean, look at a model is what is happening at the University of Ghana. Now the private hostels, I am sure, are bigger than the public hostels.
Than the original,
the traditional Legon Hall, Commonwealth. The private hostels, because
and they are still building,
because a process was put in place that made it attractive for private people to put in hostels. So now Legon's population is about 40,000. You know, when I was at Legon, the whole population was 5,000.
You're right.
Because we were limited to Volta Hall, Legon Hall.
There was no way government could have matched up that expenditure.
No.
Absolutely no way.
It's that same model. And when you go to some of these places with all these fantastic roads, they're all private sector. And you go a little bit. Look, can you imagine if you can have a 6-lane to Kumasi and you pay a toll of, say, 50 cedis?
But they are doing it now. They are doing the Kumasi now.
Yes, but how many years has it taken?
A long time.
Yeah, and every, you know.
But they say they are going to put the tolls on, and people are resisting, but they say they're going to put it on.
But we are going to just lift all of that from public expenditure, because all of those things contribute to the imbalance.
And also you can use your Ghana card to pass through the toll, and the bill will come to your phone.
The tolling too is going to be digital. So
the bill will come to your mobile money.
This business of going to queue for 40 minutes to pay a 50 peso toll.
So you show your Ghana card, you're gone.
You are gone.
It knows you.
You are gone. You are gone. So that plan to reduce expenditure and to increase government revenue is the best chance that we have to achieve fiscal balance. And when you achieve fiscal balance, it makes your currency strong. It's also going to back the currency with gold, because gold is also money. Gold is something that you can also sell, a commodity.
But the question for Dr. Bawumia really is that all of these things, he should do it now. He's vice president.
Some of them are being done now, like the Credit Reference Bureau. They are being set up now, and I'm sure in the next few weeks he's going to launch the Credit Reference Bureau. Some of them are being done now as we speak. Some of them you need a totally different atmosphere. You know, so he cannot remove VAT now, for example, because
it's a parliamentary process.
That is not even the policy of the government.
But it's a parliamentary process.
Yes,
it's difficult.
Yes, and he has to go there. You know, so the things that can be done now, some of them are being done now. The majority of the plans that he has, he needs executive power. He needs full executive power. So the
things that he's doing, just to be sure about the difference between Bawumia and Akufo-Addo, the things that he's doing, he's able to do them now. Is it because it is coming on the back of Akufo-Addo having laid the foundation of education seems okay, industries have started, and therefore on the back of that he can move to the next level?
Yes, absolutely. And every time he speaks, he starts from the Akufo-Addo programs and the achievements on the ground before he builds on. Everywhere he goes, that's where he starts. He talks about free SHS, he talks about the digitalization, the changes that have come, he talks about the roads. I'm sure you listen to him.
Yes,
so he starts from there.
But the question of his critics always is that Bawumia says that he should do it, he can do this, he should do it right now. He's president, he's been vice president for 4 years, 8 years.
Mahama was president, wasn't he?
He was, and vice president.
When he was president in 2016, he had a manifesto that was saying what he was going to do if he got back into power in 2017. He didn't ask himself, why didn't he do the things he said he would do in 2017? Because he was president. He had executive power. So
I get your point.
That question and it's usually the NDC people who make it, that point would not help them, because it applies even in a worse scale to Mahama, because he was president, and yet still, even as president,
you're saying that if the NDC query were to stand, and incumbents cannot have a manifesto. But everywhere in the world, incumbents have manifestos. They say what they are going to do. And the question will be, why haven't you done it now?
And Bawumia really is not an incumbent. The incumbent is Akufo-Addo.
So, I'll come back to that.
Now let me finish with this gold. You see, now gold is also money. Gold is like the dollar. You see, and we have it in abundance. So this idea of taking the gold to back the city, how it's never occurred to our leaders, I can't understand. But Bawumia is saying that one of the key things that he's going to do is take the gold, refine it to a certain standard, so it can be used to back the city. But recently, one of these big multinational companies had about 3 billion cedis that they needed to change to dollars to send to their shareholders and to pay for some of their purchases and so on. Just a couple of months ago, can you imagine if they had gone into the market with 3 billion cedis to buy the dollar? The price would have just gone through the roof. They were offered gold to the value of 3 billion cedis, and they took it and went and sold it and takes the pressure away from the cedi. This is one.
So those would have been worse than 16.
Well, if somebody had $3 billion to take to the market to buy dollar, what do you think would have happened to the dollar or the cedi? So this is a clear example of how we can use gold to back the currency. And when you go to some of these countries with major...
But these things you are saying, they're not difficult. If I'm John Mahama, I can implement them too. There's no problem.
Wow.
Why should anybody then vote for Bawumia because of these are things that another president
have you heard John Mahama talk about it?
He hasn't, but he can implement them.
Yeah, but have you heard him talk about it? He hasn't got the idea. If anybody comes and they want to do it, then they are taking the idea from Bawumia. But why would you go to somebody who will be a duplicate as against the original, the person who has the original idea? And so that is going to be a game changer. Now, what are the things that we use the dollar to buy? Many of these things that we use dollar to buy, chicken, rice, chocolate, and so on. There's going to be aggressive import substitution. More focus, not spread too much. Focus on 6-7 items, big ticket items that are major imports into this country, and make sure we produce
that. Should have been done now. That should have been done by now, because in 2001, when you were minister, we had this problem. We could have had this conversation then. We said 400 million at that time. Now it's 800 million.
Some progress has been made. Do you know tiles, floor tiles? Floor tiles,
yeah.
We are now doing a lot of floor tiles in this country.
I can believe that.
And it's cut down
the price.
The dollar that we used to import.
But we have factories here that are doing ceramic factories.
Wonderful tiles. I'll let them send you some.
Oh, I see.
When you see them and they tell you they are made in Ghana, you won't believe. And it's cut down the importation of tiles. Even rice importation. We've cut it down by 40%.
Rice?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we had an aggressive East Ghana rice.
And you need to put more fire into that aggression. Focus on a few and make sure that we are self-sufficient. And when you look at his plans to ease the cost of living, apart from holding the value of the cedi, he's going to target housing. So how everybody needs a house, everybody needs accommodation.
Aggressively building houses.
Yes. He's going to do land banks across the country. So all this business about people getting into land tenure and multiple paying 4 times for the same land and so on, is going to cease, because he's going to buy a lot of land.
Who's going to buy?
I mean, the states
will buy
land and then have the private sector. So when you want to, if you're a big estate developer, you go to the states.
Well, like they do in Europe?
Yes.
Like Regiment upgraded many years ago.
They will put in infrastructure, roads. Look, if you are going to get a 1 meter down, look at the bureaucracy. And then you're going to get a meter for, say, 200 homes. So we put in the electricity, you put in the roads, you put in the water, and then the private sector will just go in and build. And that will increase the housing stock and also bring the price down. You take electricity, for example. It says, look, I'm going to build solar, 2,000 megawatts. Our consumption of electricity is about 5,000 megawatts. If you have 2,000 coming from solar, that will bring the average price of electricity.
But this solar conversation has started from President Kufuor's time. Because Bawumia is not telling us now that we are now discovering the alternative of solar. We have not been able to do it since 2001. What has happened? We've done some. President Mahama told me in a private conversation when he was president that he's trying to get solar so that the ministries' areas will all use solar. And I was very excited about it. And I said, Mr. President, that's good. So we'll do it.
But we haven't been able to do it because Bawumia hasn't been president.
Say that again.
He hasn't been president.
We have not been able to do all these things
because everybody comes, like you're talking about.
President Mahama told me that he was, and he was doing it. I don't know what happened.
He couldn't do it.
Isn't not the cost of money that's excessive? Therefore, we don't have money all the time to do these things.
No,
it's not the money more than the idea.
No. Look, this 2,000 megawatts of solar is going to involve the building of 5 million panels.
Yeah, the cost of it is what?
And we're going to, well, a cost of a panel now should roughly be about 4,000 cedis. because of the dollar.
We are building 5 million.
Because of the dollar.
Yeah.
We're going to produce them in this country. We're going to set up factories that will produce panels that will also create a lot of jobs. But the cost of electricity will come down so much that to pay for itself. And when you have a panel that can last you for 30 years.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so it's going to bring the cost of electricity down by bringing in solar into the mix. The mix now is water, which is the hydro, Akosombo and Bui. They'll give us maybe 1,000 megawatts. The rest are the thermals, which are very expensive. So if you have solar coming in, solar will even be cheaper than hydro.
So solar will take care of public institutions, secondary schools,
yes,
universities.
Yes. So that
the government bill goes down.
The main heavy lifting will go to the industries, but for lights and air conditioners and domestic household stuff, it can be powered by solar. And we have the sun. How can Germany have more solar facilities?
Because they have more money. It costs money to do the solar.
But it costs
and we
money.
don't have the technology. We are buying the technology from Germany. Germany is not going to sell you their technology for you to compete with them. They'll sell it to you at a very high price.
Solar is basic technology.
It is.
Nothing.
We have not been able to do it.
Compare that to buying a thermal plant.
Well, that's more expensive.
So,
but that's faster. Thermal plants is more expensive, but it can come in 2 months and it's on.
The solar
is going to take a while.
If you install,
not to finish and to install. Is that what a long process?
If you install solar installation, if you install 500 panels on this building, you don't need the grid. And you can install that in 2 weeks.
I see.
Yeah. And then transport is also one of the drivers of the cost of living. It says that we're going to have electric buses for public transport.
Yeah, I think it's going to come. It's going to start. Senegal have seen this.
Yeah. It's going to come to the ports very soon. And when you have electric buses, it's going to bring down the cost because they don't need petrol or diesel. And those maintenance that come from the combustion engines are all going to go. Which of the candidates has this vision? None of them. John Mahama will tell you, I will do a macro, I will try and get macro, stabilize the macro. He doesn't tell us how. In any case, he's been president for 4.5 years. I heard you talk about 3.5 years of Doomsaw. No, the Doomsaw started in 2012.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Before he became president?
No, when he was president.
Oh, when he was president.
In fact, in his first major address to the nation in September, he told the country about that Doomsaw and some 300 megawatts have been knocked off. I'll send you there.
Oh,
September. Yeah, it's all in there. So it started in 2012.
So it's actually 4 years.
Actually 4 years. So when you look at the programs, the vision that Bawumia has, and you compare it to the NDC, the NDC's thing is just platitudes. They say 24-hour economy. I don't know if it's you say 24-hour economy. Is it a policy or the outcome of a policy?
Sounds more like an outcome of a policy, but like clearly they have not been able to position it well.
Policy.
It's an outcome.
And what should be the major driver of 24-hour economy? Demand.
People have spoken about it. Demand, industrialization.
And you can't legislate demand.
No.
You have
to create it.
You have to create it. You can't legislate it. And the way when you ask them, say, we'll sell Wache 24 hours. As if you can legislate that, hey, Wache sells
by force, go and sell. Well, government doesn't sell Wache.
Somebody says,
individuals sell the Wache.
People will farm because we'll give them electricity. How can you tell people, but when you look at what Bawumia is going to do, when you stabilize the macro situation, that is the first requirement for economic growth and for business growth. This is a Made in Ghana program, which is going to legislate. Those are the things
by Parliament.
By Parliament. Those are the things that will fuel demand. So the concrete things that Bawumia wants to do, those are the things that will stimulate demand and promote 24 hours. Not coming to tell us your vision and then they say now they say it's 24-hour nightclub. Is it nightclub? They said.
Okay, but let me flip it. And I hope viewers are sending us text messages. I like the combination of the two. I saw it on CNN. I was going to tell my producer to do it like that. And I come so this is the way we would do it. So you and me are there together. So
the split screen.
They split the screen for us.
This your studio is very sophisticated.
Oh, thank you. Zoom Lion created it for us. Zoom Lion. The guy called Zoom Lion. He saved Metro TV by buying it because it was going really.
I knew they would Metro TV.
Yeah, of course. You were a member. Let me ask you this though.
Let me. You talked about John Mahama and the cool thing.
Yes, the point he made.
I heard you quite upset about it, and you have every right to be upset. But you see, what is even more ominous and dangerous and irresponsible about that statement is that John Mahama is in effect telling the military that why haven't you overthrown the government?
That if it was me, you would have.
You would have. So why haven't you overthrown it? That's what he's telling the military.
Very, very serious.
And it's such an irresponsible statement. And when I heard it, I'm like, wow.
It's political campaign, but that's how I'm saying.
Yeah, but what you are saying, that you are telling the Ghana military
that move.
That no, why haven't you moved?
Yeah, because it's overdue. If it was me, you would have done it already.
But in your time, there was no coup.
It means that in his time, the situation was not as worse. That's the point he's making.
What is worse than doing so for 4 years?
That's what we were trying to suggest to him. That
what is worse than doing so for 4 years?
Yeah.
When you didn't even have free SHS. What did you have?
Nothing.
What social?
There was freeze on employment.
What social program did you have that could come anywhere near free SHS?
That could cushion people.
Yeah, cushion people. Government spends an average of 3,000 cedis per child in secondary school. That's a lot of money being transferred to ordinary people. What program did you have like that to transfer money and distribute income to poor people like free SHS? An average of 3,000 cedis is what is spent on every secondary school child.
That's interesting. Let's come to the other point.
And you didn't have a coup. And now you are asking soldiers, why haven't you staged a coup? It's such a dangerous statement that I think he should be called upon to
retract. Okay, that's Peace Council and the IEA. You have been a politician before. You know that campaigns are not won simply because you have a good program. Campaigns are won on momentum. You have been in the elections. Yeah. You fought 96 elections, you won. You fought 92, you didn't win. You fought 2008 so hard. So hard. I remember in the crisis period, and since in my book when we're talking about how this election has been lost in Akufo-Addo's old office, Electoral Commission, he said that one of the people he feels sorry for is Nana Kumia. He too, I was there when Brazil was there.
Why?
He said that Kumia has worked so hard for this campaign. And we worked so hard, but the defeat comes and we take it like that. I remember that.
Not in 2008. The one we worked hard was 2012.
Maybe it was 12 I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 12. The one that took us election petition.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe it was 12. Maybe it was 12.
We worked hard.
Yeah, that he said that Nana Kumia worked so hard on this campaign.
When I saw Akufo-Addo go into the court, I almost wept.
Knowing how much hard work has been put in.
Work. I mean, even us who were following him, we couldn't keep up.
It was a conviction.
Through every village, climbing every refuse dump to meet people. I mean, it was incredible.
Maybe that was what showed up in 2016.
And when he lost, and I saw him going to court, I almost wept. Yeah.
But so my question really is: you have seen campaigns won and lost. So that Dr. Bawumia has a great program, might not necessarily translate into a victory. What then is John Mahama's strongest selling point? Because he could also win. You are a politician. I'm asking you this question as a politician who has seen
John
everything.
Well, is the 24-hour economy.
That's the strongest selling point?
That's the strongest. What else has he got?
That's the thing he's selling, but is that the strongest point he could sell? Is there something that he's not looking at?
Mahama's weakness is such that it totally overrides his strengths. Simply because he's the only president in the Fourth Republic who was not given a second term. He's the only one. Every president was given a second term. Only John Mahama. Number two, he also had the longest period of any first term president.
Oh, just half. Just 6 months more.
4.5.
Yeah.
4.5.
Just half.
Everybody, 6 months, everybody else had 4 years.
Yeah, but his 6 months, it was a turbulent 6 months. His boss had died. You can't do much. 6 months to election, you can't do much. So you can't add that to him. So what's 4 years? You can say 4 presidents.
He had
8
4.
presidents.
He was sworn in as president in July.
Yes, 24th July. I was there.
24th July.
In Parliament.
And he was as president as
any other person.
Any other time. So he was a full president. So you had 4.5 years. So you had the longest time to show what you can do. And you were the only president who was rejected. And you were not just rejected, you were rejected by the largest margin of any NPP or NDC presidential candidates. It's never happened. Kufuor lost in 1996. It wasn't by that margin. Mills lost in 2000. A million. And even the second loss, that 500,000, is probably the second highest.
The 2021?
Yes. It's still probably the second highest of loss of any.
It was the highest percentage of a second term, because that was better than Kufuor's second term.
Kufuor's second term.
The 51, whatever Akufo-Addo got.
No, I'm talking of John Mahama's loss.
Yeah, I guess so. But Akufo-Addo's gain seemed to be a very high gain for a second term president in the history of the Republic.
Yeah,
it was a very high gain.
Yeah, and so John Mahama's loss was the second highest, and the first was the 2016. Now, you ask yourself why. You ask yourself why. It's because his performance was so appalling that Ghanaians could not give him a second term. And not just could not give him a second term, he was rejected by the largest margin of any presidential loss in the Fourth Republic. That speaks volumes. And you know...
Yeah, but there's a large voting population who don't know anything about that.
Well, I will remind them.
They don't know. They were not there. They don't see it.
Yes, but
they were 11 years old when Doomso happened. They don't really...
We would remind them.
We have to inform them.
Yes. And you know, because he's been president before, all his inconsistencies, you know, are very glaring to anybody. All his inconsistencies. Look, John Mahama poo-pooed LEAP. You remember? He said it wasn't the best way to provide employment. And yet when he came into office, he was touting his achievements in LEAP. That cannot be a consistent leader. He poo-pooed the idea of getting special funds for the North when Akufo-Addo said we're going to do Northern Development Fund. John Mahama poo-pooed. He said if you have money, go and pay the toll debt. You remember? And yet when he came into office, he took the idea, called it SADA. And we all know what happened to SADA. It became one of the biggest vehicles for corruption in this country. He poo-pooed the NYEP, the National Youth Employment. He said that this is a palliative. It's not the best way to give jobs to young people. It's not sustainable. And when he came into office, they changed the name from NYEP to JIDA. And we all know what happened to JIDA. It became one of the biggest corruption vehicles that you have in this country. Look, recently, he's talking about laptops to students. He says we are buying votes. You've heard it. And yet, when he was president, he embarked on a large program to provide laptop to students. You remember? With the RAG and so
yes, RAG, yeah.
But today he's saying that giving laptop to students is vote buying. You can't see the consistency of thoughts. Recently he was complaining about pictures on the construction vehicles. Ideally, people should not put their pictures on vehicles procured by the state. Ideally. But these laptops that I'm talking about, John Mahama had his pictures on the laptops.
He did?
Yeah. On the cover. And then when you open it and you plug it, you switch it on, his picture comes first.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Even the e-blocks, he had his pictures on them.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I'll show you.
I've seen the e-blocks. I've not seen his pictures.
I'll show you some.
Maybe during the campaign time they hang his poster or something on it. Yeah, but that's not that.
So if you have spoken to your people not to put your pictures on them, then you have the moral right to talk about somebody putting their pictures on them. But in your time, you're putting pictures on laptops for students.
Yeah, but people are going to the polls and they are saying that price of ideal milk in John Mahama time was X cedis. Price of ideal milk today is Y cedis. The Y is 4 times more than the X.
That's true.
Yeah, so they are going to vote for John Mahama. Is that not a strong point for him?
Oh, if you see the way they are campaigning, they themselves don't believe people are going to vote for them because the price of milk has gone up.
How do you say that?
Oh, but look at the way that they are so aggressive with their campaigning. I think they went on some large demonstration today.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it because you know a lot about these things.
So they don't believe in their hearts that people are going to vote for them because the price of milk has gone up.
Yeah, they believe that, but they think the MPP want to rig the election. rig with the Electoral Commission.
But that was one of the inconsistencies.
Why?
Because we remember John Mahama telling us when he was president that there's no way elections can be rigged in this country. Do you remember? He said there was no way elections can be rigged.
We have that video, yeah.
Yes, and that the structures that we have in place to manage elections, you cannot rig. Yeah, but even he as president,
yes, he
has no influence in the election.
But the point being made now
and also that the Electoral Commission or commissioner should be given the peace of mind to do their work. They have a constitutional mandate. You can go and state your case, but they have to take, the Electoral Commission has to take the decision. And that demonstrations were not necessary. Today he's embarking on the
but the NDC are saying that the Electoral Commission that John Mahama described is not the same Electoral Commission today, that the NPP has bastardized the Electoral Commission, replaced it with party apparatchiks, changed people there, and now made the Electoral Commission annexed to Jubilee House. That's really what the NDC
Look,
therefore, the Electoral Commission today, they can't recognize
the Electoral Commission under John Mahama. The commissioner was appointed by John Mahama. There were commissioners who were politically exposed in that commission, appointed by John.
But we didn't draw them out, because now they are saying that there's a particular commissioner for IT, who is a member of the NPP.
Ideally, you shouldn't have politically exposed persons.
Yes, but that's a point.
But I'm saying that
John Mahama didn't have some. Who was it?
He did. There's a daughter of an NDC regional chairman who was on the commission,
appointed by the president.
Yes.
That's still a bit far-fetched than a party-wielding card member of the NPP as a member of the commission.
But who told you that woman didn't have a party card?
Well, so what
her father was the regional. I'm saying.
So what has happened? Has he left the commission?
She's left. She's left
after retirement, or she was removed by the processes of Charlotte.
She's no more there.
She's no more there.
But she was there. The commission.
But the NDC said that the character of the Electoral Commission that they see today, not in terms of behavior, but in terms of characterization, is different from the Electoral Commission that John Mahama said was impartial and election cannot be rigged. This one, they don't trust them. They can rig elections.
But the other parties also saw the character of the Electoral Commission during John Mahama's time in the same light. And remember, the parties joined forces to drag the Electoral Commission to court several times.
Yes, on the Abu
so they also saw. So it depends on.
But that's really the difference, and that's why people appreciate what the MPP did. The Abu Ramadan list of cases was a way in which the MPP forced the Electoral Commission in the Supreme Court.
Because we saw the Electoral Commission
will not work.
Because we saw the Electoral Commission in the same light as they are seeing the Electoral Commission now.
And your response was to go to court.
Yes.
Not to go on the street.
No.
So what do you make of the demonstrations today? They said they will continue. If the Electoral Commission doesn't come in 1 week, they will continue.
But the thing is that the Electoral Commission is independent. I would like the Electoral Commission to call parties to the table for parties to state their case. I don't like them to be talking at parties. They should be talking to parties. But like John Mahama said, it's an independent institution. And you cannot dictate to them through demonstrations. We have the right to demonstrate. It's not a problem. I mean, demonstrations are also ways that you can express yourself in a democracy. But you cannot force the Electoral Commission to take decisions based on your demonstrations.
But have you heard the NDC's complaint? Have you heard it? They say that the voters register is compromised and that it has people on who should not be on. The Electoral Commission says that that is exactly the reason why the process allows people to come and check. After those checks, they have observed where names are duplicated and they've dealt with it. But NDC should bring any new matter.
Evidence.
They have not yet done so. But they're looking for a external forensic audit. I'm not sure whether I understand that, but you have been doing these things for a while. What is forensic audit of voters register? Are we going to pick each name? Are we going to pick a name at random and find out whether the name Paul Adomotri has been registered in Lejokuku, has been registered in Adekutupon, has been registered in Lejusu Jabe? How is it? That was a forensic audit. How is it done?
You know, I would not poo-poo the NDC's grievances to the extent that they are a major player in the elections, to the extent that they have grievances. The Electoral Commission should sit with them and look at their grievances. I mean, no matter how
They have done
no matter how silly it will sound.
Promise to do so, but the NDC says that anything short of a forensic audit done by external people, they will continue the demonstrations bigger and louder over the weeks to come. But they've given the EC 1 week. After 1 week, if the EC doesn't respond and say let's do a forensic audit, they're going on.
At the end of the day, if you want to compel the EC, you believe that they are violating some processes or whatever, and you want to compel them, you have to go to court. All the demonstrations that you can do them. After that, you go home.
But we have 2 months
you have to
go
to court.
Does the timetable allow a forensic audit? We have 2 months to go to the voting. Today is September, a month from now is end of October, a month from now is end of November.
But I believe,
7 December.
I believe the Electoral Commission should meet with them.
And they have said they are willing to do so.
Yes.
They've said it so many times.
Because at the end of the day, you still have to go back to the table. And I look at the attitude the NDC had when in 2015, 2016, other parties were talking about the same thing, raising the same complaints about the register. I remember Bawumia had a full-blown press conference about the bloating of the register in some of the border areas.
And hopefully we get an interview with them and then we can deal with it. But do you think there will be peace around this matter? If the Electoral Commission insists that they are not, will there be peace?
Paul, you know, after the 2000 elections, where there was a genuine fear that President Rawlings hadn't been in power for nearly 20 years. If his party lost, he wasn't going to give power. There was a genuine fear. I had people telling me in my constituency when I was campaigning in 1996 that, look, you are a young man, full of energy. We know you can work for us here. We will vote for you. But we have to vote for Rawlings, because if we don't vote for him, he will bomb the country. And this is North Kaneshi. Accra, not a... So there was a genuine fear in the year 2000 that the strong man Rawlings is he going to hand over if the opposition won. And you remember there was a lot of exodus from this country by these expatriates. But we went through the 2000 elections peacefully. And we were lauded by the entire world. After that election, any election will be peaceful. All this jostling and this pushing will happen. But I can tell you, any election in this country will be peaceful, including this year.
Finally, let's talk about the running mates, because you know about these things better than many. The NDC running mates is running for the second time. What observations have you made about her campaign?
Nothing inspiring.
Was she better in 2020 than she is now?
The same.
The same?
The same. Nothing inspiring.
But it's a good gender ticket, isn't it?
Yes, but it didn't work.
How did it work? We are yet to tell. From
the Ghanaian electorate is such a sophisticated electorate that they will not vote for you simply because you are of the same gender. They will vote for you because they believe you can do something to help them. The Ghanaian electorate, way back, Buzia's time and so on, was described as the most sophisticated electorate in Africa. So these are not people that you throw symbols at. No. So they will vote for you because you are talking to their needs and you are talking to their vision, their own aspirations. Not because you are a woman, or not because you are a man, or not because you come from somewhere or you don't come from somewhere. So, and I don't hear anything inspiring from that woman. If there's anything inspiring, I'll say so. But, she's the one claiming they brought free SHS.
She's withdrawn it. She hasn't formally withdrawn it, but she stopped saying it. She hasn't said she's withdrawing it, just stopped saying it. Your running mate, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, has had some potholes on the journey.
Yes.
How is that coming up?
Well, he's apologized, and
he has not yet apologized for saying God sleeps at night, except if that was sarcasm.
Oh, that was sarcasm. we all know God as his.
I've heard people say that was sarcasm, but
we all know. But you remember, God rested on the seventh day.
Yes, he rested, and I made the point that he was trying to say God rested. As against 24-hour economy.
But it's sarcasm. Yeah. So essentially, but the work rate that he's put in since he was nominated is incredible. I am really surprised at the work rate. The people said he's sick because he's lost a lot of weight because of the work rate
Really?
Yes, he set up a second campaign front. And you haven't been following.
I've been watching the videos, but I've not been to the campaign office.
I mean, the work rate is fantastic. It's fantastic. And we compare it to the NDC, his counterpart in the NDC. There's nothing there. So we must commend him for the work rate that he's brought to the campaign.
Will Akufo-Addo be deployed at the campaign, and when and how?
Well, I mean, Akufo-Addo is the president. Anytime he wants to take part in the campaign, of course, we'll be happy to have him. But he's also focused on delivering his mandate. He's still president for the next 4 months. And he's focused on delivering his mandate, delivering the roads, he's been commissioned a bitumen plant, I think the biggest in the country just a couple of days ago. Is going to be commissioning some of these landmark projects and so on. He's working very hard. When you look at his itinerary, like on a single day, he goes to 4 or 5 different places on a single day. So he's also working the beat as president. But anytime he wants to take part in the campaign, we'll be happy to have him.
So what's going to happen over the next 2 months? What about the debates, the presidential debates? Is the MPP happy to do it and waiting for the NDC to make a decision? I had Muhammadu Bawumia's challenge on Mahama
just 2 days ago, Bawumia was still throwing the challenge. But the NDC, and that's one of the saddest things in this campaign. When you look at the NDC excuses, it's just sad. They said but they won't take part in a debate because Bawumia is a liar. They won't take part in the debate because Bawumia is not accountable. They won't take part because Bawumia hasn't met the press. They won't take part because Bawumia hasn't gone to debate market women. They won't take part because Bawumia hasn't gone to parliament to debate 7 MPs. 1 man, 7 MPs.
Which 7 MPs are they talking about?
Well, they said there's some MPs in parliament. He has to go and debate them. You haven't heard?
I don't understand. Why debate parliamentarians?
No, but 7 MPs.
Is he campaigning in their constituency against them?
But that is what they have said.
Well, but Bawumia has now met the press, hasn't he? He has. Yeah.
They said first he should meet the press, he should go and debate market women, he should show accountability, he should speak the truth, he should go and debate the MPs. Some even said that he's not he didn't call for the debate with respect, that he was rude the way he called for the debate. I mean, it's a joke. And the sheer panic clearly of the NDC at the prospect of a debate between Mahama and Bawumia is almost laughable. And so you see all these small boy excuses coming out, go and debate market women, go and be accountable.
But you think the NDC are running away from the debate?
But if they were running away with dignity, I could understand. They are running away in a very undignified manner, saying that you should go and debate MPs in parliament, you should go and debate market women.
Did the MPP and Nana Akufo-Addo run away from a 2016 debate with John Mahama?
What happened?
Some letters were exchanged. Initially, Akufo-Addo said he would attend the debate. And then later he said he would not attend. I studied it at the time. I was of the view that until the debate organizers can correct what happened to Akufo-Addo in 2012 debate with Ayari Kof, then the party should not submit him to the debate. I think some people share that view. A statement was written to IAA that unless you tell us how you're going to get this somebody coughing, we're not going to come.
Yeah,
that's how I think it fizzled out.
So, I mean, look,
that was the reason the MPP because the 2012 debate had been quite catastrophic.
Yes.
In the IAA situation.
And so.
Yeah.
But Paul, a debate is not by force. Is it by force?
No, it shouldn't.
It's not by force. So if you don't want to debate, just say so. I don't think.
But that's what John Mahama said. I don't want to debate.
But these excuses that go and debate market women, that go and debate 7 MPs in parliament, that you didn't ask for the debate with respect, that your tone wasn't respectful, and some of these funny things.
Well, but I think that
go and hold a press conference before.
No, I think that has come from different people. That's not the NDC's official position. Johnson Asiedu Katia has said, for instance, that Bawumia is a liar. That is still not.
So there'll be no debate.
Position.
Yes, but
we have had Sami Jefi and Co.
That's the chairman of the party.
Yes, rhetoric that go and do press conference. We have done our press conference. So that's not the party's position.
But the party.
Manebo says something else. But that's not the party's
position. It's not the party's position. What's the party's position? The chairman is the.
John Mahama hasn't spoken yet.
Yes,
and he may just come up and say, "I'll do the debate."
Then why allow your chairman and your communications director and all this stuff for Sukwache and all this people to come and talk about no debate? If that is your policy.
Well, I'm sure he's still studying. Why allow them? I'm sure he's still studying.
Why allow them? Do you think if Bawumia wants a debate, he would have me talking about not having a debate? He would call me and say, Nana, no, let's have the debate. Let's support the debate. Now you have your chairman of your party. Using insulting words on Bawumia simply because he doesn't want a debate. You haven't called him to order. So how can you want a debate and your chairman doesn't want a debate? But I'm saying that if you don't want a debate, fine. But this sheer panic that, well, go and debate market women, go and debate the media, go and debate MPs, show some respect. You are a liar. And so
has the IEA written to the MPP inviting for the debate?
The IEA is going ahead to have his debate.
So if John Mahama doesn't come, what will happen?
Oh, I'm sure Bawumia will be perfectly happy because he wants every platform to carry his message.
So he'll go to the debate.
And he believes he has a good. He'll
platform. Go without John Mahama.
Look at the excuse that they gave for even when we had the press conference. John Mahama came and said, "Why did we have the press conference on a Sunday?"
But his was a Sunday too.
Yes.
His media encounter was a Sunday.
In fact, when one of his people who was parroting what John Mahama said, when he was asked that, but John Mahama too had this on Sunday, he said, well, but he is not president.
I don't understand that. If he's not, Bawumia too is vice president.
But you know, when
the opposition can have theirs on a Sunday, but government cannot.
When the silliness get to a certain point, that is what happens. Now, when you look at some of the excuses that you had your manifesto on a Saturday, 24 hours later, Bawumia has a media encounter, and John Mahama himself said that why should we have a media encounter 24? I mean, if your message is good, it will play in the media and Ghanaians will talk about it. If your message is not good, it will not play in the media.
So the NDC were worried that the NPP deliberately came immediately after the manifesto to take it away from the news. I mean, that's not reasonable.
But that's John Mahama's
journalists will cover what they want to cover.
But you never heard him.
Not quite. But journalists will cover what they want to cover. I mean, but the NPP, NDC knew by the time they were going to do their manifesto, that the next day, I mean, all media knew. The invitation had come out 10 days earlier. So everyone knew that Saturday was NDC's manifesto.
I'll say John Mahama himself took Bawumia on, and that why would you have your media encounter, and that you had a media encounter so you can drown the NDC's manifesto launch. John Mahama himself.
Oh no, you can't drown.
One of his executives was throwing the same line on radio, and he was asked, but John Mahama too had his press conference. In fact, he said that it was very cruel for the NPP to have the media encounter on a Sunday, because Sunday is a day of rest, and the journalists were supposed to rest and prepare for the week and all of that. Then you go and drag them to a press conference on Sunday. And then he was told, but John Mahama had his press conference on Sunday. And then he said, well, but he's not president.
Anyway, so what's going to happen in the next 2 months? Just walk us through it and then we can.
What's going to happen? I mean, the response from the ground to Bawumia, Paul, you have to be there. It's not something that should be narrated to you. You have to be there to see it. The grassroots response to him. And I think it's that adrenaline that drives him, because the grassroots response is intense, and if you are a leader, that kind of thing can make you work forever, But the NDC too, they will tell you that they too, their grassroots response is there.
Yeah.
So I believe it's going to be a close election. It's going to be quite close, but clearly, eventually, Bawumia will have the edge because his message is superior. Far superior.
The government said it was published
once
today.
again, also, John Mahama has had a chance to be president. What the two gentlemen are competing for is the presidency of Ghana. John Mahama has been president before, and by the results of 2016, he failed. Bawumia has never been president. There's this funny thing of ascribing difficulties in the government to Bawumia, which is funny. But he's never been president, no matter what you say. You have been president and you failed. That's why you are rejected. So if Ghanaians are looking for an alternative, they're not going to go to somebody who failed. And then when you look at the vision and the programs that the two gentlemen have, Bawumia's vision is so clear. It tells you how we are going to stabilize the city. It tells you how we're going to increase the tax net. Go and look into the NDC manifesto. They just make the statement and leave it. No plan, no program. So as we propagate the message and bring it to the attention of particularly young people, Bawumia will overcome.
Okay, we'll leave it here. Let's take a last round of text message and then close our show for tonight. It's 20 minutes on top of that, midnight now. Fatih, what are people saying? We are finalizing, we are closing now. What's your last word on the show tonight?
You know, there's this, it's just funny. It is hard work, but there's also a lot of fun. Now, President Mahama is complaining that people are not speaking out against the government.
Yes.
That civil society is not speaking out. Pastors are not speaking out. The clergy is not speaking out. The imams are not speaking out. So I ask myself, so then if all these groups don't support Mahama, then who supports him?
No, he said that they're not telling Dr. Bawumia the truth, because the truth is that things are not working, and the ordinary people who are the majority of the voters know, and they will vote for him.
He's saying that if it was if he was the president, all these groups will be speaking out. But they are not speaking out now because they are in bed with the government.
Sort of.
So then who likes John Mahama? Soldiers don't like you. Imams don't like you. The clergy don't like you. Pastors don't like you. Civil society don't like you. So who likes you then? Who likes you? Like everybody is against you. And even soldiers are not staging a coup because they don't like you.
That's what you see from what he's saying.
But what do you see? If I say that if I was the president, soldiers would have staged a coup. What you say, you are asking the soldiers, why haven't you staged a coup now? That's what you're asking them. And the assumption is that because they don't like you, that's why they would have staged a coup if it was you. But you brought 4 years doom song. There was no coup. I mean, the people of this country, we slept in darkness for 4 years. There was no coup. I mean, are you going to talk about the economic hardships? Economic hardship. But we saw severe economic hardships in John Mahama's presidency. I mean, why was he removed? Why wasn't he given a second term? Because of the economic hardships.
So you are suggesting John Mahama knows that he's not polling well in the election? Is that a suggestion you're making?
The sense of panic over Sunday press conference, over debate, and over people not speaking out. The sense of panic clearly tells me that he knows he's way behind. It is not the posture of somebody who is...
Let me ask you on a final block of questions. The survey that was presented by government today, that has been discussed in the media, about 28,000 people being polled, and it has Mahama at 46 something, Bawumia ahead of him at 48 or 49 something, and NDC rejects that, saying that they will win the first round. And the poll also says that what could derail the MPP's chances is scandals and decision making. What do you make of it?
You know, the Bawumia campaign will treat every poll with an even hand. If the poll tells us we are doing well, it encourages us. Because when you are in the lead, you want to maintain your lead. If the poll tells us that we are not doing well, it encourages us to do more. So we don't worry ourselves with polls. we focus on our work. So when the polls come and people say we are not doing well, if we are doing well, it encourages us. If we are not doing well, it still encourages us. At the end of the day, in another 3 months, the main poll will come. And that is where we are focused. And every day we are working, meeting the grassroots, doing the community outreach, and we are gaining ground little by little. And the message is getting down. And Bawumia tells them, I will be a brand new president, Mahama will be a second-hand president. They say, why is he making that statement? But that's the statement that gets the crowd roaring, because they can see that it's true, that this man has not been tested. The other person has been tested and rejected. You can run away from it.
I have to leave it here, Anakumi. It's 15 minutes on top of the at midnight, as always.
Is that so?
Yes, time runs. Fatih is laughing at you, Anakumi. When you say that, is that so? Fatih is
she's laughing about what?
Fatih is there. Look, you can see.
Why is she laughing at me?
She doesn't know that you know. They've been here since 8 o'clock. So when you say is that so, like you want to go on, and they are worried that hey, this politician, why? How does he want to go on like that?
No, Paul, this is the first time I've done an interview at 12 midnight.
I'm sorry.
That's why
we apologize.
It's a first for me. That's why I'm I normally would do Good Morning Ghana.
Yes. That you take
11 a.m.
But that you talk for 2.5 hours on Good Morning Ghana. It's about the same. And when you're on Peace FM, you are talking for 3 hours on Sepakai Show. I've been listening.
But we finish at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm doing an interview at 12 midnight.
Yeah, we're sorry about that.
Yeah, but I'll come again.
You should. We love you. We love you.
Yeah.
And when we put the flyer up, many people said they were missing you being interviewed this way instead of the banter on Good Morning Ghana. They kind of like this one. So we'll talk to you again. Good luck in the campaign. Please, when you are driving, please be careful when you're on the campaign.
Thank you.
And sometimes the roads are not, and you guys sometimes you have to go very fast because you have to catch up. So our prayers are with you.
We go by bus.
Yeah, you do the bus thing. Is it nice? Is it comfortable?
Very.
Really?
And the camaraderie. Because you are sitting.
So you're able to hold meetings when the bus is going.
Oh, okay. The Bawumia is there.
So he stands up and starts talking.
All of us are there. You can go to him and tell him you said something here, and I believe you should modify it. And I mean, it's just wonderful.
Oh wow!
Apart from the optics being good.
I would like to film it.
Yeah.
I'll ask them.
I mean, then he will call you and say, "What do you think about what I said at this place?"